saggy gray Calvin Klein boxer shorts. The only other item of clothing on his trembling body was a winter cap pulled tight over his skull. It was June in Los Angeles. This living thing, he was speaking again. It's so pointless. He turned and looked at me through wet, red eyes. It's tic-tac-toe. There's no way you can win, so the best thing to do is not to play it. There was no one else in the house. I would have to deal with this. He needed to be sedated before he snapped out of tears and back into anger. Each cycle of emotions grew worse, and this time I was afraid he'd do something that couldn't be undone. I couldn't let Mystery die on my watch. He was more than just a friend. He was a mentor. He changed my life, as he had the lives of thousands of others just like me. I needed to get him Valium, Xanax, Vicodin, anything. I grabbed my phone book and scanned the pages for people most likely to have pills. People like guys in rock bands, women who just had plastic surgery, former child actors. But everyone I called wasn't home, didn't have any drugs, or claimed not to have any drugs because they didn't want to share. There was only one person left to call, the woman who had triggered Mystery's downward spiral. She was a party girl. She must have something. Katya, a petite Russian blonde with a Smurfette voice and the energy of a Pomeranian puppy, was at the front door in 10 minutes with a Xanax and a worried look on her face. Don't come in, I warned her. He'll probably kill you. Not that she didn't entirely deserve it, of course. Or so I thought at the time. I gave Mystery the pill and a glass of water and waited until the sobs slowed to a sniffle. Then I helped him into a pair of black boots, jeans, and a gray t-shirt. He was docile now, like a big baby. I walked him outside to my old Corvette and stuffed him into the tiny front seat. Every now and then, I'd see a tremor of anger flash across his face, or a tear roll out of his eyes. I hoped he'd remain calm long enough for me to help him. I want to learn martial arts, he said docilely. So when I want to kill someone, I can do something about it. I stepped on the accelerator. Our destination was the Hollywood Mental Health Center on Vine Street. It was an ugly slab of concrete surrounded day and night by homeless men who screamed at lampposts, transvestites who lived out of shopping carts, and other remaindered human beings who set up camp where free social services could be found. Mystery, I realized, was one of them. He just happened to have charisma and talent, which drew others to him and prevented him from ever being left alone in the world. He possessed two traits I noticed in nearly every rock star I've ever interviewed: a crazy-driven gleam in his eyes and an absolute inability to do anything for himself. I brought him into the lobby, signed him in, and together we waited for a turn with one of the counselors. He sat in a cheap plastic black chair, staring catatonically at the institutional blue walls. An hour passed. He began to fidget. 2 hours passed. His brow furrowed, his face clouded. 3 hours passed. The tears started. 4 hours passed. He bolted out of his chair and ran out of the waiting room and through the front door of the building. He walked briskly, like a man who knew where he was going, although Project Hollywood was 3 miles away. I chased him across the street and caught up to him outside a mini-mall. I took his arm and turned him around, baby-talking him back into the waiting room. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30. He was up and out again. I ran after him. 2 social workers stood uselessly in the lobby. "Stop him," I yelled. "We can't," one of them said. "He's left the premises." "So you're just going to let a suicidal man walk out of here?" I couldn't waste time arguing. "Just have a therapist ready to see him if I get him back here." I ran out the door and looked to my right. He wasn't there. I looked left. Nothing. I ran north to Fountain Street, spotted him around the corner, and dragged him back again. When we arrived, the social workers led him down a long hallway and into a claustrophobic cubicle with a sheet vinyl floor. The therapist sat behind a desk, running a finger through a black tangle in her hair. She was a slim Asian woman, in her late 20s, with high cheekbones, dark red lipstick, and a pinstriped pantsuit. Mystery slumped in a chair across from her. "So how are you feeling today?" she asked, forcing a smile. "I'm feeling," Mystery said, "like there's no point to anything." He burst into tears. "I'm listening," she said, scrawling a note on her pad. The case was probably already closed for her. "So, I'm removing myself from the gene pool," he sobbed. She looked at him with feigned sympathy as he continued. To her, he was just one of a dozen nut jobs she saw a day. All she needed to figure out was whether he required medication or institutionalization. "I can't go on," Mystery went on. "It's futile." With a rote gesture, she reached